Anyway, back to the Prime series. Metroid Prime 2. I thought it was excellent. I really enjoyed Metroid Prime 2 a lot. And I just enjoyed the overpowering, oppressive darkness of that game. Ooh, I messed that up. Restart. And the soundtrack was a big part of that. I think the soundtrack of Prime 2 was just about on par with the soundtrack of Prime 1. Just some extremely memorable tracks there. And one that I really liked was the remix of the Lower Brinstar theme from this game. The one that I was talking about earlier, the best track in the Metroidverse. They remade that track for Metroid Prime 2 for one of the later areas, and it was excellent. As for Prime 3, Prime 3 is a little harder to it's a little harder to really reach a conclusion on for some reason. It's really good. I mean, it's very well designed. It's full of surprises. There's nothing predictable about it compared to the R2. The R2 can be a little bit formulaic in their progression, but Prime 3 takes you all over the place. There's like a bunch of different planets as opposed to just one planet, and you're constantly having to like go to some new area that's completely different from the old areas. Just a lot of area variety. Some very cool bosses in that game. This is a no save run, I've decided. It's official. No saves. Let's see if I make it. I might not. I might not make it. I don't know. If I don't, then this whole video I'm recording will be rather pointless. So hopefully that won't happen. Although I'm curious as to what would happen if I get to like the end of the game, or like, you know, the second to last boss or something, and die. I'm curious what'll happen. Will I appear on the space station from the very beginning of the game with all my stuff? You know, because no, probably not. Because I don't think you keep your stuff in this game when you die. I think you go back to whatever you had when you saved. I think. So used to modern games and all the auto saving and whatnot. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I would go back to the space station with like no equipment at all. I mean, if you went back to the very beginning of the game with all your later equipment, that would be kind of crazy. Oh man, wait. Hold on, what am I supposed to do right now? Okay, alright. I made a wrong turn. I'm supposed to get the ice beam before I come back. Oh shit. Okay, before I come back here, I have to get the ice beam. So I just took a wrong turn. Gotta go back. Ugh. So yeah, Prime 3, I don't know. It was extremely well done, well designed. Most of the people who played it seemed to really believe it was up there with Prime 1, that it was just on the same level. That was amazing. I just found it just felt weird to me. It felt too crowded. Like there were too many characters, there was too much plot going on, there were too many people around. It didn't have any of that sense of being alone on some alien world, which the first two Prime games had, and which most of the series has. So there just wasn't that sense of being alone and frightened, you know, or not frightened, but just like being alone and having to fight to survive kind of thing. It just didn't really have that. It was more like a regular game, I guess. It was more like a Halo or something. You know, it just you had the Galactic Federation doing all their Galactic Federation things, and Samus had like all these allies, and there were all these other characters kind of doing their thing, and I don't know. It just felt kind of crowded. You know, it felt like a Halo game with all these characters running around. I don't know. It didn't really feel like a Metroid to me. But anyway, I'm gonna replay that eventually, and because I've only played it once, back in 2010, I believe. Yeah, 2010. I played the first two Prime games a bunch of times. I played them both when they first came out. Let's see, I played Prime 1 in 2002 when it came out, and I played it a couple more times after that. I don't remember when exactly, but I played it a few times. Prime 2 I only played once. It was in 2004 when it came out. Wasn't really that into it, so I didn't play it again until 2010 when the Trilogy Collection came out. I replayed both Prime games then, so it was like the fourth time for Prime 1 and the second time for Prime 2. Then I played Prime 3, and yeah, I just, I don't know. But I'm gonna play all three of them again to stream, to do videos, whatever. And we'll see if I feel better about them. If I feel better about Prime 3 next time I play it. It definitely has the best graphics of the three. It's a beautiful game, and it's got the Wiimote controls, which, I mean, it takes some getting used to, but you know, they're okay. It makes it easier to hit a lot of enemies, actually, because you're not really boxed into the lock-on as much, because you can move the controls around a little. So you can move the aiming reticule around a little bit. Anyway, it's an interesting change. Oh, and then there's Other M, but I'm not going to talk about that one. I played that one once in 2010 as well. I played a lot of stuff in 2010, by the way. Oh my god. Other M, for some reason, they decided to use like NES era control. Oh, geez, I messed up. NES era controls with Other M. Like you would hold the Wiimote horizontally and just press A and B, basically, like an NES controller. It was just very bare bones, very basic, kind of odd. It just seemed backwards, you know. Pretty much everything about that game seemed like a big step backwards. I'm just gonna listen to this music for a moment. Man, why am I messing this up? There we go. Oh, this is absolutely my least favorite room in the game. You can kind of see why. Plus you have to crisscross this room like 3 times during the game. I haven't switched out the spacer yet. I know I said I was going to switch to the regular ice beam, but I haven't done it yet because it really does make aiming easier. And right now I'm in an area where I need to freeze everything to just get through. So I don't want to be messing with my shots. Basically, unequipping the spacer right now would be handicapping myself, and I'm not ready to do that just yet. Not until I get out of this area. Oof. Here we go. these guys have a ton of health, so I'm just gonna whiz by here. That's a power bomb that I probably would have totally missed my first time through the game. I would have been stuck at 98% for weeks, trying to find that as well as the missile that I couldn't find. Because who would think that you have to jump into one of those horrible flower trap things? You know, who would intentionally do that after all the grief that they've caused? But I had Nintendo Power, and Nintendo Power covered, oh god, this room. Nintendo Power covered up to the Crocomire fight, which we're coming up on now. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Jackie boy. I'd actually die here. I'm not gonna die here. I refuse to die here! Almost there, almost there, almost there! If this were the first Metroid game... Oh, no. I was going to say, if this were the first Metroid game, that bee would have hit me on my way through the door. But then it did. It did hit me on my way through the door, so that happens here too. Grab that. I'm going to get hit by every Ripper on the way down. How about that? I totally did. I went through all 4 of them, I think. And you know why? Because I'm going to get my energy back right here. Boom. Energy's back. Sometimes you gotta use those things. So yeah, Nintendo Power covered up to the Crocomire fight, which was a tantalizing glimpse of the game. Absolutely, just enough to whet your appetite. Because that fight is what, maybe halfway through the game, tops. You know. Say it's probably closer to 40%, but yeah. So I liked how Nintendo Power would do that. They would cover just enough of a game to really get you interested and really give you the gist of it. But they wouldn't give away everything. They would leave out all the later stuff, and it would let your imagination start to take off a little bit. You know, like what awaits beyond this, where this coverage ends. You know, what else is there? What's next? And that was very cool. I appreciated that. You know, most modern magazines, modern guides, we don't really have magazines anymore, but most modern guides, be they online or off, they tend to just give away everything, which they have to. It's their job. But Nintendo Power didn't have to give away everything. They just had to basically pimp the games out. So they had some leeway to... hold on. This room. This little trick. Boom. You can climb your way back up if you have perfect timing, if you're very quick, if you have perfect timing. There's a missile at the top, but it's okay. It's usually something that one should leave until they have the space jump, and that's just if they're getting 100% as well. Here we go. Crocomire. Boom. Boom. Now there's an energy tank at the other end of this pit, and if you get a running jump, like a really running jump, you can actually vault across this pit and get it. But there's a chance I might botch it, and I have to be careful about stuff like that, because this is a no save run, and I don't want to die. So I'm just gonna get the grappling beam, because I have to come back up here anyway. Get the grappling beam. I'll get it then. This shot right here, where he comes back as a skeleton and charges at you, that shot was in the that shot was in the commercial for the game. This game had an interesting commercial, as I recall. So did Chrono Trigger. They both had really good commercials. But yeah, the commercial for this game, they showed like a second of the Crocomire skeleton like flying onto the screen. And at the time, I thought it was one of the bosses. I thought one of the bosses was this giant skeleton. And so when I actually got to that point in the game and saw that, it was a little tiny bit disappointing, as opposed to the intended effect, which was just like, oh my god, Crocomire, you know, it's back and it's crumbling. Instead of that intended effect, it was more like, oh, that's the thing I thought was a boss, and it's gone. Yeah. Oh well. I don't know if a skeleton boss would really fit in this game anyway. Grappling beam is a lot of fun. You can do all kinds of stuff with this thing. Ooh. It's even a pretty good weapon, surprisingly. Doesn't look like it. Ooh. There we go. Oh, we're coming up on a half an hour. I gotta change the video real quick. I'm gonna do this. This is something I really like to do when I was a kid. Just stand over the pipe and do the grappling thing. Then you automatically get all the power-ups. Very cool. It's kind of the lazy man's way to farm power-ups. Or the lazy person's way. Alright, I'm gonna get this energy tank, then I'm gonna switch the video. Show you that jump I was talking about. And see, I kind of botched it just now. I jumped too early. But yeah, if you're really good, you can jump all the way across the pit, hit this wall jump off of it up to the energy tank. It's not even hard to do, really, and it's very cool looking. So you kind of just saw a little bit of that. All right, change the video real quick. Stop that.